Tree Gelbman wakes up on her birthday in the college dorm room belonging to a guy named Carter. She sees a missed call from her dad, but decides not to answer. She finds herself there because the previous night she drank too much at a party, and Carter offered her shelter. However, she behaves roughly towards him. When she leaves the room, Carter's roommate enters, thinking she's already gone, and asks if he slept with Tree, creating an awkward atmosphere. On her way home, Tree observes what's happening on campus. Unexpectedly, she's stopped by another guy, Tim, who expresses his dissatisfaction with her not responding to his texts. Tree explains that their last date didn't meet her expectations and continues on her way. Upon returning home, Tree encounters Danielle, who reminds her about today's meeting. She then goes to her room, where she finds Lori. Intrigued, she asks her about the events from the previous night that she doesn't remember. Lori admits that at some point, she went overboard and did a few stupid things. As Tree leaves for class, Lori hands her a birthday cookie, which she promptly throws in the trash. After a while, she enters the class late, where she passionately gazes at the lecturer, Gregory, who notices her stares. She then participates in a meeting led by Danielle, during which each participant is referred to as a sister. Another sister brings in junk food, which the group does not tolerate, prompting Danielle to instruct her to get rid of it. As the girl leaves, she bumps into Carter, causing her to spill chocolate milk on Tree. Carter returns her jewelry, which Tree left in his room, and apologizes for spilling on her. Later, Tree goes to the hospital where she meets Lori, who works there, warning that her purpose for coming there might end badly. Shortly after, she enters the lecturer's office. They are having an affair, and they start kissing when suddenly his wife, Stephanie, wants to enter the office. Gregory opens the door, greeting her, while Tree exits, saying it was nice to meet her. In the evening, Tree gets ready to go to a party and sets out on foot. Along the way, she passes by fans of the Bayfield University sports team. One of them, dressed as Babyface, the team's mascot, catches her attention. As she walks through a tunnel, she notices a toy playing the song Happy Birthday. She first thinks it's a joke, but then someone wearing the Babyface mask appears. She warns him that she'll call the police. The person quickly disappears, leaving Tree terrified. As she exits the tunnel, she suddenly encounters them again, and they attack her with a knife. Tree tries to escape but stumbles and ultimately falls victim to the assailant. Tree wakes up in the same place as at the beginning of the movie. She sees Carter again, and the whole situation looks exactly like before. His friend enters again, but disoriented, Tree leaves. As she walks through the campus, she experiences the same events as before. The girl with the forms stops her, a couple gets sprayed with a sprinkler, a car alarm goes off again, and a certain boy faints again. She meets Tim again, who asks why she hasn't been responding to his texts. However, she asks him what day it is today, to which he replies, Monday, the 18th, which is the same day as before, and then she leaves. Thinking he's experiencing déjà vu, she returns to her room, where Lori is, and when she goes to class, Lori gives her a birthday cookie with a candle again. Then she sits through Danielle's meeting again, but she's preoccupied. Carter accidentally spills a drink on her again and returns her jewelry. She appears in the lecturer's office again, but this time she wants to talk to him about her déjà vu. His wife appears at the door again, and Tree leaves. On her way to the party, she passes by the Bayfield fans again and sees someone in a Babyface mask among them. They lock eyes, but when someone calls them, they return to the group. This time, however, Tree avoids the tunnel and reaches home, where the party is supposed to be. She's disoriented because the doors are closed and it's too quiet. After a moment, Babyface appears at the door, and Tree punches him in the face. She then sees Danielle and the other partygoers who were waiting for her because it was supposed to be a surprise for her birthday, and Nick, Danielle's boyfriend, was the one in the mask. She calms down and enjoys the party. Nick flirts with Tree, which Danielle doesn't like. After a while, Nick invites Tree to his room upstairs. He turns up the music and starts dancing, while Danielle messages her asking where she is, suspecting she's with Nick. As she's busy replying to the message, the real killer appears and takes care of Nick, then goes after Tree. When she realizes what's happening, she puts up a fight, but ultimately, Babyface kills her again. With a scream, Tree wakes up in Carter's room, unable to believe what's happening. She hastily leaves the room and traverses the campus, where everything seems to be unfolding the same as before. When she reaches her room, she explains to Lori that she's reliving the same day for the second time, describing what's going to happen that day, and adding that someone is trying to kill her. However, Lori doesn't take Tree's words seriously and suggests she ignore today's lectures and rest. In the evening, Tree barricades herself in her room. While looking for the TV remote, she notices a birthday card with a depiction of Babyface, and at that moment, the TV starts acting strangely. Tree senses impending danger and reaches for a hammer. Soon after, Babyface appears and attacks Tree. Although she manages to hit him with the hammer on the head, she fails to escape, and ultimately, she meets death once again. For the fourth time, Tree wakes up in Carter's room, this time being in complete disarray. She rushes out of his room, and when she sees the same events unfolding on campus again, she starts to lose it. She runs into Carter, who is about to return her things, and she asks him for help. Carter, not entirely believing what Tree is saying, tries to help her. He suggests that the killer might want to kill her on this day because it's her birthday. They try to figure out who else knows about her birthday, but it turns out that everyone on campus knows about it. Carter concludes that Tree has unlimited lives and also has an unlimited number of chances to find out who her stalker is. Tree doesn't like the plan, but seeing no other way out, she makes a list of suspects and starts investigating. Tim is the first on the list. However, it quickly turns out that he's gay, as they catch him watching gay porn. After another death, she starts spying on Stephanie, Gregory's wife, but Babyface catches her at that moment. The next day, she goes with Danielle and sees the birthday card she saw on the third day in her room. Tree starts fighting Danielle, and they end up on the street, where they get hit by a bus. The following day, she doesn't care about anything anymore, so she walks through the campus without any clothes. In the evening, she hunts down the attacker with a baseball bat, but accidentally hits one of the sisters, Becky, and the same thing happens as you would expect. Once again, Tree wakes up in her usual spot, but this time she feels unwell and faints after a moment. When she comes to, she's in the hospital, where she sees Carter and then Gregory. After the younger one leaves, Gregory remarks that Tree should be dead given her injuries. She wants to leave the hospital because she knows she's an easy target here, but Gregory forbids her and leaves to get her a Coke. Meanwhile, Tree escapes and looks for the car keys in the lecturer's office. In a drawer, she finds the Babyface mask, then grabs the keys and runs away. When Gregory finds her and tries to stop her, the killer appears and eliminates him. Tree flees to the underground parking lot, where she takes his car and drives off. Thinking she has finally escaped, she starts to rejoice, but unexpectedly, she's stopped by a policeman. She seizes the opportunity and lies to the officer, claiming she's under the influence of illegal substances to be locked up in a cell so that the killer couldn't catch her for sure. As the officer puts her in the police car, Babyface strikes the law enforcer. The killer leaves a burning candle and spilled gasoline, causing the car to explode with Tree inside. Again, the same day, the same routine. As she exits the room, Carter wants to help Tree, realizing she had a nightmare. She tells him that she relives the same day every day, pointing out that a couple will get sprayed by a sprinkler, a car alarm will go off, and a boy will faint soon after. Later, they sit in a diner, and Carter asks about her dad when he calls her. Tree opens up to him, saying she has a strained relationship with her father, and her mom died 3 years ago, adding that she now realizes she was a bad person. Suddenly, on the TV, she sees a news report stating that the serial killer John Toombs has been admitted to the Bayfield Hospital with a gunshot wound. Toombs is wanted for previous murders of 5 young women. Tree realizes that he is her attacker and runs to the hospital to warn the staff that Toombs will escape. She grabs an axe and slowly enters the room where the criminal lies. She sees a dead policeman, and behind her, Babyface appears and attacks her. She manages to escape, but ultimately, she's caught by the masked assailant, who she thought was Toombs. At the last moment, Carter jumps on the attacker but gets killed. Terrified, she flees and hides, eventually managing to stun the attacker. She wants to kill him, but realizes that if she does, the day will continue, but Carter will be dead forever. She decides to give herself another chance the next day. This day starts with positive energy as Tree hugs Carter. She's kind to the girl with the form and gives a pillow to the fainting boy. She tells Tim not to pretend to be someone he's not and encourages him to go after a guy instead of her. In her room, she apologizes to Lori for being a nightmare roommate. She goes to the university and interrupts Gregory's lecture to tell him that their romance is over. She attends the meeting led by Danielle, where Becky and Tree bring junk food, and Tree suggests that the extra calories won't kill her. Danielle responds by saying they don't want to be as fat as Becky, prompting Tree to pour chocolate milk over Danielle's head. After this incident, Carter appears wanting to return her jewelry, and Tree kisses him and invites him to spend the evening with her. Then, Tree meets her father. They have a touching conversation about her mom, and Tree apologizes to him for her past mistakes. They hold hands, and her dad wishes her all the best. In the evening, Tree prepares to confront the killer and enters the hospital. She coerces the policeman guarding Toombs to hand over his gun and orders him to call the others. Entering his room, she tells him not to pretend to be asleep. She wants to shoot him, but forgets to unholster the gun. Toombs attacks her, and just when it seems like it's going to end as usual, she exploits the knowledge of the power outage scheduled for a moment and disappears into the darkness to ambush him from behind and shoot him. After all this, she meets up with Carter, where she blows out the candle, and her wish is for tomorrow to come. Tree wakes up the next day. Yes, you guessed it, in Carter's room. Everything is the same as before. Not knowing what's happening and why, she rushes out of the boys' room. She runs into her own room and starts packing because she wants to leave. Lori, trying to improve her mood, gives her a birthday cookie. Tree replies that she ate it yesterday, and then she starts to understand everything. She died in her sleep, and Lori's birthday cookie was always poisoned, but she never ate it except yesterday. It was Lori behind the baby face mask all along. Because Lori had access to Toombs in the hospital, she could stage it as if Toombs wanted to kill her. Tree orders Lori to eat the cookie, and when she threatens to take the cookie to the police, Lori lunges at her. It turns out that Lori has always wanted to kill her because Gregory always chose Tree over her, adding that Tree is just a stupid slut. They both start to struggle, and when Lori is close to killing Tree, Danielle is heard at the door asking about the noise. During this time, Tree takes the cookie and pushes it into Lori's mouth, ultimately hanging herself on the lamp to kick Lori out of the window, causing her death. After the whole incident, Tree sits with Carter in a diner where they see an interview on TV with Daniel talking about what happened. Carter returns Tree her jewelry, which she left in his room in the morning. The next day, Tree wakes up in Carter's room as usual. She is shocked, but Carter plays a prank on her, claiming it's Tuesday the 19th. Tree is furious at him for the joke, but then they start kissing.